There are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning. So, hello guys, let's continue again. So, let's understand time delta class of datetime module. So, basically, it is used for calculating the sum or difference between datetime objects. The difference can be both positive as well as negative. It is very easy to use and understand, and it can be used to make a lot of things such as countdown timers or stopwatch. So now let's understand the syntax for time delta object using which we can add or subtract time. The syntax is datetime.time delta, and after that we have to provide the required arguments. All of them are optional, so if we don't provide any of them, it will work perfectly fine. So now let's go for a hands-on practical. First of all, let's start the Python REPL by giving the command python. So now let's import the time delta class as well as datetime class from datetime module. So for that we have to write from datetime import time delta, and we have to use a comma, and then we have to write the name of the second class, which is datetime. A simple question: why we are importing datetime here? We have to work with time delta, but what is the use of datetime? If you know the answer, then do comment and let me know. So now let's use the dir function on time delta and let's check what is inside it. So here we can see that it provides some attributes as well as some methods. Now let's check the module doc string, and for that we have to use the special keyword doc, and we have to write print time delta dot double underscore doc double underscore. So it returns the syntax for time delta object, and it also shows that all of the arguments are optional and by default they are set to 0. So now let's see what is the minimum value of time which time delta accepts. For that we have to write print time delta dot min. It will give the minimum value. It actually provides a very large value with a negative sign. And we know that time delta class can work with negative values of time as well. So now let's see the maximum value of time that it accepts, and for that we have to replace min by max. So again we can see that it accepts a very large value. So now let's check the resolution of this class, and for that we have to write time delta dot resolution. So here we can see that it is having a good resolution up to microseconds. Resolution is the minimum unit of time that it can handle. It can handle up to microseconds, but beyond that it won't be able to handle. So now let's make our first time delta object, and for that we have to write time delta and provide the parentheses. I'm not giving any argument because all of them are optional. So we have seen earlier also that if we don't provide any value, then by default it will be set to 0, and in this case also our values have been set to 0. Now let's create another time delta object, and this time I will be providing it only two arguments. The first argument is for the days and the second argument is for the seconds. So when I print it using the print function, we will be able to see that it shows 1 day 1 second. Now let's make another time delta object, and here I will be providing 6 arguments. It takes total of 7 arguments. The first one is for days, then after that seconds, after that I have to write the microsecond, then it takes milliseconds, and then it takes minutes, hours and weeks. So here I have provided up to hours, I have not provided the value for weeks. So here the output is 10 days, 1 hour, 10 minutes, 20 seconds, and after that it provides the value for milliseconds and microseconds. Let's make another time delta object. Here I am just changing the value of hours, and if I print it, then the number of hours will get updated. So if I directly want to specify the value for weeks or days or hours, we can do it using the named arguments in Python that we have studied in the previous videos. So here we just have to write time delta, and then we have to write the argument name, which is days. In this case we have to provide the value, and also to provide the value of weeks we have to write weeks and provide the value. So let's print it using the print function, and it shows 71 days, which means that 10 weeks and 1 day. Similarly, we can also provide the values for other arguments. Now let's make a datetime object which will provide the current time, and for that we have to write datetime.now. So here I am just printing the value using the print function. So now let's make a time delta object, and now I am going to give only one value, which is number of days, and I am specifying it as 10. So if I print it, it shows 10 days. So we know that time delta is basically used to subtract the time from the datetime object. So here I am going to subtract 10 days from the datetime object that we have created earlier. So for that I just have to write the variable in which I have stored the value of the datetime object, and I have to subtract it using the time delta object. So here we just have to write CUR minus X, which means that subtract 10 days from the current date time object. So now if we see the output, the date has been changed from 16 to 6, which means that 10 days have been subtracted from the current date. Similarly, if we want to add 10 days, we can directly write CUR plus X. It's like normal mathematics and it will just add 10 days to the current date time object. So when I print it, we can see that 10 days has been added to the current date, which is 26 now. Apart from date, we can also add or subtract hours, minutes and seconds. So I'm making a time delta object and in this I'm providing the value for seconds and milliseconds. Let's print it using the print function and after that we will subtract it. So for subtraction, we know that we just have to write the current date time object and subtract the value of time delta object. So for that I have to write CUR minus X. Apart from current datetime object, we can also create our own datetime object using the syntax that we have seen in the previous video, and we can also perform the same operation on that. So here I am just writing datetime, then after that I will be providing the year, month and day, and as usual I will print it using the print function. Now let's make another time delta object, and this time I am just going to specify the number of days as 10. So now let's subtract 10 days from the datetime object that we have created before this. So for that we know that we have to write the name of the variable which is storing the value of datetime object, and then we have to subtract the time delta object from that. So here it actually becomes date object minus X. So here is the output and we can see that the month has changed because we have to subtract 10 days from the given date, and because of the same it has changed the month as well. So this is much more powerful example. In this case I am going to specify the value for both date and time in the datetime object. Now as usual I just have to call the print function and I have to print the value of this object. Now let's make another time delta object and we have to specify the arguments for both date and time. In this case I am also using the named argument or the keyword argument for weeks and hours. Now we just have to print it using the print function. Now again let's try to subtract it from the datetime object that we have created before this. So for that we just have to write datetime object minus time delta object. So here I'm just writing some text which will make our output look much more better. I'm writing 17 days 10 hours before. After that I just have to write datetime object minus X or the time delta object and just have to print it. So here is the output. It has subtracted 17 days and 10 hours from the datetime object that we have given to it. I hope that everyone has got some knowledge from this video, and if you have any doubts then do comment and let me know. So that's all for today. My new video will be uploaded soon. Thank you.